In the heart of the Fire Nation, where the flames of power and authority burn brightest, there lived a girl named Kaida. With hair as dark as the night and eyes that glowed like embers, Kaida was the epitome of Fire Nation pride. Raised in a world where discipline and loyalty were paramount, she was taught from a young age that the Fire Nation was superior, and all other elemental tribes were to be viewed with suspicion and disdain. Kaida's childhood was a blend of strict training and indoctrination. The streets of her city were lined with banners proclaiming the Fire Nation's might, and every day, she would wake to the sound of marching soldiers. Despite the oppressive atmosphere, Kaida found solace in her friendship with a girl named Lian. Lian was different. She lacked the fire-bending abilities that were so revered in their society. Because of this, she was often the target of bullies. Kaida, with her burgeoning fire-bending skills, became Lian's protector, a beacon of hope in a world that sought to dim her light. Despite being polar opposites, their differences only served to strengthen their bond. Kaida admired Lian's resilience and determination, while Lian saw in Kaida a strength and courage that she herself lacked. As they grew, Kaida's prowess as a firebender caught the attention of the military, and she was soon enlisted in the Fire Nation army. Her orders were clear: to seek out and eliminate any who were not firebenders, or those who did not serve the Fire Nation's interests. It was a mission that Kaida accepted without question, her mind clouded by years of propaganda. Lian harbored dreams of a career in medicine, a path that was not only less conventional, but also frowned upon in their society. She saw the suffering of the non-firebenders, and she wanted to help, to heal. Despite their differing viewpoints on their future and career paths, Kaida and Lian remained close. They found common ground in their shared experiences of oppression and their desire for a better world. They talked about their dreams, their fears, and their hopes for the future. They shared their struggles and their triumphs, their laughter and their tears. Their friendship was a testament to the power of understanding and acceptance, of seeing beyond the surface and recognizing the humanity within. However, Lian harbored a secret that would shatter their world. She was an airbender, a fact she concealed beneath layers of fear and deception. In the Fire Nation, where airbenders were believed to have been wiped out, her very existence was a dangerous anomaly. She had hidden her true nature for years, living in constant terror of being discovered. As the days turned to weeks and months, Lian's anxiety only grew. She knew that the Fire Nation's grip on power was tightening, and the hunt for any remaining airbenders had intensified. The streets were filled with the sound of marching soldiers, and the air was thick with the scent of smoke and ash. One fateful night, Kaida, Lian's closest friend and now a soldier in the Fire Nation army, was tasked with leading an assault on a suspected airbender hideout. The mission was shrouded in secrecy, and the tension in the air was palpable as Kaida and her team made their way through the dark streets. The moon cast an eerie glow over the landscape, and the crackling of fire bending echoed through the night. Kaida's heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and dread. As they approached the airbender hideout, the team moved with ruthless efficiency, their flames dancing dangerously close to their targets. Kaida's own firebending skills were on full display, her movements swift and precise. The air was thick with the acrid smell of smoke and the sound of screams. It was in the midst of this chaos that Kaida came face to face with Lian, her secret finally laid bare. Lian's eyes were wide with terror, her body trembling as she realized that her dearest friend had been sent to destroy her. The revelation was a gut-wrenching betrayal, a moment that shattered the very foundation of their friendship. Kaida's world crumbled around her as she stared into the eyes of the girl she had once sworn to protect. The years of indoctrination and loyalty to the Fire Nation had blinded her to the truth, and now she was faced with a choice that would test the very core of her being. Lian pleaded for understanding, her voice a desperate whisper amidst the roar of flames. She spoke of the oppression of the Fire Nation, of the lives torn apart by its quest for dominance. But Kaida's heart had been hardened by years of propaganda, and her mind was a fortress that refused to yield. The fire-bending officer, a man with a gaze as cold as ice and a heart devoid of mercy, watches the scene unfold with a twisted sense of satisfaction. He had always suspected Lian and had orchestrated this moment to test Kaida's loyalty. His voice cuts through the tension, commanding Kaida to fulfill her duty. Torn between her loyalty to the Fire Nation and her love for Lian, Kaida's mind was a raging battlefield. Memories of their childhood flashed before her eyes, each one a sharp sting of betrayal. She remembered the days when they would play together in the streets, laughing and carefree, unaware of the darkness that would one day consume them. The teachings of her nation echoed in her mind, a relentless drumbeat urging her to act. She had been indoctrinated from a young age to believe that the Fire Nation was superior, that all other elemental tribes were to be viewed as enemies. The propaganda had seeped into her very being, shaping her worldview and clouding her judgment. In a moment of agonizing decision, Kaida's resolve hardened. With tears streaming down her face, she unleashed a torrent of flames towards Lian. The Airbender's screams pierced the night as she fell, her body consumed by the fire. Kaida watched in horror as the girl she had once cherished was reduced to ashes, her own hands the instruments of her destruction. Kaida stood over Lian's lifeless body, a hollow shell of the girl she once was. The fire-bending officer's approval was a cold comfort, a reminder of the price of her loyalty. His gaze was as icy as the heart that now beat within Kaida's chest, a heart that had been hardened by years of indoctrination and the weight of her own guilt. The flames that had once danced with such vibrant energy now seemed to mock Kaida, their flickering light a cruel reminder of the darkness that had consumed her. She had become a monster, her hands stained with the blood of the one person who had ever truly understood her. In the aftermath, Kaida was hailed as a hero, her actions celebrated as a triumph for the Fire Nation. But the victory tasted like ashes in her mouth, a bitter reminder of the price she had paid for her loyalty. She had sacrificed her own humanity, her own moral compass, all in the name of a cause that had once seemed so noble and just. As Kaida walked the streets of her city, the cheers of the crowd were a distant echo, drowned out by the deafening silence of her own conscience. She knew that she could never undo what she had done, that the weight of her actions would forever haunt her. The fire within her had been extinguished, replaced by a cold, empty void that threatened to consume her from the inside out. The story of Kaida is a dark reflection of the cost of blind loyalty and the devastating consequences of a world divided by elemental lines. In her quest to serve her nation, she lost herself, and the fire within was extinguished by the very flames she wielded.